Welcome everyone to our class in Doctrine of Talmud. What we've done to this point is discussed Meforshim. Okay. Now the Doctrine of Talmud mentions the general rule of how Meforshim work, and we did that, and then let's get to that place here. And then what we did is we actually went through the in-depth discussion of Meforshim. So let's do his little introduction here. And right in the beginning of the first sentence, he says, now here's a checklist of things you should look for in the Meforshim. First, Divrei Maskil is extremely important. That's where he puts his pen down is where he wants to talk about, not two words before and not two words or one word after. So that's the first rule. The second is Takel ma hu asher hu mosif u'ma lashon Gemara. What is the Gemara? Always look at the Gemara itself. What is he adding to what it already says? He can't be just repeating the Gemara. So what is he adding? Now, when you understand what he's adding, now you have to say, okay, what's the kavana of him adding those few words? As we said in direct funas, now we can talk about it. What is he saying? What's his no saying? Also, what is he saying? More than what the Gemara is saying. And now, what's his kavana? What is he trying to do? So now here we have a checklist of the Doctrine of Talmud. He says, a mefarish either comes to metaken lashon. He fixes the language. He said in our Tunis it says chav, it should say chayav, for instance, or meforish inyan. We're going to explain that a little deeply, but basically he says that there's two reasons why you have to give a parish, either because beginning people are not aware of external premises, or the lashon is very difficult. So we said, we gave an example of the word mava in the Mishnah. The word mava in the Mishnah is not a classical Torah word. And for that reason, we have Rav and Shmuel arguing what it means. And they're trying to bring riots from the Tanakh to what this word is a remiss to. Is it Adam, is it Rega? Because we have, if it meant Adam Regal, it should say Adam Regal, it's a Shinui Lashon. So one reason why Mefarish talks is because the language is sussum, it's closed. Don't know what it means. And the other reason is because there's outside premises that you have to have in order to understand what's being said here. Okay, you have to understand if you're dealing with kachim. So there's a lot of things the missioners on the expert level of step number 25, and you have to be tuned in to other Gemaras and background information to understand what's being said here. So that's Mefarish Inyan. The third thing that a Mefarish is doing is Mitarat Zakusha. That means there's a problem with the text. We said inside the Gemara itself there's a hidden kasha, we said. Okay, the Gemara itself is Mefarish, that there's Arba Aras Nazikin, and it has a kasha. Why should there be four of them? One should be a told of the one should be the told of the next. And if you had that kasha that really they look to be the same av, that you can make a billion av from one to all the other ones, and I'll tell you, no, lo harizek haris there. So the mission itself is mefarish that the arba is mataris kasha that you should have had. So that's what a commentator will do. The other one is Miniya Safek, bring up the question. Usually if you have some sort of doubt what the Mishnah means, okay, so you can bring up that, you can share that in our terms. And the other thing is, number 5, is Nishma mi perish achir. You want to say what you're saying to avoid the simple meaning of the text. Like he said that Hashem stuck his hand in Mitzrayim, right? So Hashem doesn't have a hand, so therefore we have to mafarish that it doesn't really mean a hand. It's a mashal to his power. So even though the text says he has a hand, it says he put his hand in Mitzrayim, so we have to tell you not to read that text, dafka. It's really just a mashal. Okay, so that's Nishma Perish Acher, or the famous. And number 6, then check out Gearses. So that's his short list of things that functionally what a Mefarish does.
Okay? We're going to see some examples of these?
Yes, and we're going to go now, if not only examples, but I'm going to just skip right here. Okay. Here's Siman Yud Beis spells it out, and I just made it nice, big, and red. And he's meforish because ein koach b'metchilim la'ayin b'seifo b'lashon hahu l'havino. It's just beginners don't understand what's being said, and that's either because you need a hakdama, either because it's awesome. It's awesome. I should make that in blue. It's awesome mechosem, and why? Because you need hakdamas b'richutz, or it's a double there. I did do it right. Either you need external information, or for instance, you have to know what an av is in Avraham Zikin, or it's a strange thing like the word malva. Okay, then it's kedei lahotzi may dasacher so perish acher. That's the second one. Okay, the third one is hishomem miyat kafto tiyufta. He has to protect you from some kasha, and then there's latakan lashon. Okay.
What happened to Manias Safek?
Let's go. Very good. Excellent. He didn't bring it up here.
I know, because I was wondering what that meant. That's what I was waiting to see.
What exactly? Manias Safek means, and we're going to see an example of Rashi, that he brings up a question. He says there's a lashon here. He doesn't solve the problem. He just says, wait a minute, this can be, in other words, what's the difference between a kasha and a shayla? Now, it's interesting he doesn't bring it up here, and I don't know the answer to the reason why he doesn't. I was very happy I made the same observation. What's the difference between a kasha and a shayla? Okay.
A kasha is a difficulty, a shayla is that you want to know information.
Exactly. So a shayla doesn't attack, okay? And a shayla means, so when I'm a suffix, his lashon suffix means shayla. That's first of all.
Oh, okay. So,
okay, it just means a shayla.
Okay.
Okay, so it just means that we have a question here. What this means? Okay, but not that this is a contradiction. There's no contradiction here, but there's a question that has to be raised. Now we're going to see an example of that. Let's put on the Gemara. Okay, you have the Gemara up there.
I have the Gemara. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's put that up on the screen, and we'll give you you'll be the presenter. Okay. Can I do that right now? So.
No, I did it. I took care of it.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so now let's look at Rashi, and let's see if we can see which one of these things he's doing. Okay. So here's the first Rashi. Arba Havas Mezika.
So Avos Karileinach Dexivim Bekra Behedya. So Rashi is explaining what an av is. Doesn't draw
so
straight.
he says two points here, right, in Rashi, correct?
Yep.
The first is Avos Karileinach Dexivim Bekra Behedya. That's the first point Rashi makes. And the second point is that the Gemara is Meforish Hai Nihu told us. Okay, that's the second point. The Gemara is going to explain what the Tolas are. Those are two separate issues. Okay, now what is the first thing that Rashi is doing? Okay, let's get in our possibilities. Okay, which one of the possibilities is doing? Is he Matakan Lashon? Is he Meforish Inyan? Is he Matar Sakasha?
He is being mefarish and Inyan. He's mefarish what the word avos means.
Exactly. Okay, and the reason he's doing it is because
we don't know what an av is.
Now, the simple person would say that this is because you're a beginner and you don't know what an Av is, right?
Right.
Right? But the, 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 the depth of this question really comes only when you study the Gemara later on. That brings the other possibilities of Avos, Rav Osh and Rav Chia, and it says our Mishnah is fine. It says Avos Mikal V'Getolos, right? But the other Rav Osh and Rav Chia, they use the word Avos and they bring Avos that don't have any tolos, like Shomer, they put in. Okay, so the Gemara answers over there because Avos means that things are, things that are mafarish in the pasuk are called Av. So that means it's a secondary use of the word Av. Okay, it's a problem. And so Rashi is explaining that Avos are things that are mafarish in the pasuk Behedra. I take that back. I already had a kasha in the teretz, and I didn't give the teretz. Let's take it back again. His key word here, it's Behedra.
Behedra, right.
That's the key word here. Okay.
So Behedra is saying that an Av is only if it says it, if it specifies it in the Korah. Behedra.
Right. Then if it's not Behedra,
then
so
it
that's a Tolda.
It would be a Tolda, right,
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
It wouldn't be an Av.
Well, why would it be a Tolda? If a Tolda is only something that has a relationship to an Av, and let's say there would be some sort of type of Nezikin that we would say it's not an Av because it's not Behedra, why would it be a Tolda? It would only be a Tolda if it has the same relationship to the Av as any other Tolda.
Okay, so what was bothering me? In Shabbos, yeah, you did Shabbos, right?
I
So
learned.
those 39 Av Malachas, right?
Right.
There's only one Av that's written in the Torah. That's Yubayr Eish.
Right.
And all the rest to learn from the Mishkan.
Right. Right.
So there, Rashi could not have said that the ones that are written by Hedge because there's only one written by Hedge over there. Everything else is a Masara. We learned it.
Right. Well, could you have a different meaning of Av regarding of Nezikin and Shabbos?
It must be. It must be. It must be.
What is the Mishnah?
Rashi could not have said this in Shabbos.
Right. So let's see what Rashi says in Shabbos. So the Shabbos stuff. It's Shabbos stuff. Ayin Gimel Amid Aleph.
No, there it doesn't say anything about Avos over there. You have to go to Cloud Gadol.
No, here it is. Isn't that it? Avis Malachas Abram Chasrachas, right here.
Yeah.
So Rashi over here is.
Oh, where did you go? 1 second. How'd you get there?
I'm in Shabbos Ayin Gimel Amid
I'm
Aleph.
confused.
Shabbos Ayin Gimel Amid Aleph.
Oh, Ayin Gimel, exactly. Oh, very good. Oh, I got confused. I thought you were in the beginning. Okay, they're right bodies. I'm a bit sorry for saying.
Right.
We're together. Okay.
Good. I'm just.
Now, does he say anything there about Avos?
So let's see. Let's see what Rashi says here. Masnisin. No. Oh, here we went to. We go to the beginning of Mishnah.
No.
Hazayra. No, there's nothing here. All right, because where's the beginning of the Mishnah? The Mishnah starts off over here. You know what? Let's switch to the regular view.
Yeah, do it regular. Yeah, it's very hard to see it this way.
Okay. So here, the Mishnah starts with Hazayra. It doesn't even say. Avos Malchus Aram Chasrachas Hazoreya V'Cherish V'Akriz V'Amam Rabbadesh V'Hazayra. The first Rashi is even Hazayra. Doesn't even say. Now,
Right.
on the next staff, what is the Gemara say on Amid Gimel on the base?
Okay, we'd have to now. Yeah, we'd have to.
Minyan Olam. So the Gemara's first question is Minyan Olam. Doesn't it? Right? It says, why do you need a minyan here?
Right.
Listening Avos Malchus and Hazayra V'Cherish. So we're asking why you need the number.
Okay, so Rashi doesn't define avos here.
Right. Oh,
and
so
he
that's
definitely could not. He definitely cannot define it as he did in the Zika,
right.
because it doesn't come. There's only one that's mafarish b'krov. Everything else is a drush. You know, Moshe
Right.
was a Haviru at call, and he blew the shofar. He said, "Stop bringing your truma for the Mishkan," and it was Shabbos. So they learned anything that was done as a malach in the Mishkan, but that's all a drush. It's not mafarish. The body's not mafarish. It's a remes, but it's not mafarish. Anyway, that's interesting. Okay, so the question is, what is Rashi doing? Okay, so he's explaining here that this type of, the Av of Nezikin is anything that is written mafarish. That's called an Av of Nezikin. Okay,
Right.
let's go to the next Rashi. Let's see what he says. Okay, so let's say
Hashar
it's mafarish in you.
Yeah, Avos Karlan Tiksim Krabah Hashar Vabar Kesedish and Ksum Parsha Sidron B'Mishnah. The Parsha Mishnah Namar B'Shar Shneir Bar. So he was bothered by the order of the Mishnah. And okay, so what is he doing? He's being mefarish. He's coming to answer a question.
That's right.
And the question is, why are we ordering it in Shar Bar? Why are we ordering it this way?
Right. So there's two bases. There's two kashas that he's coming to Mataritz. Okay. The first one is that it says in logic. First of all, there's one in logic, and then there's an eternal contradiction in the Mishnah. In logic, there's no sense to saying shor, bor, mav, and hever. In other words, when we make a list, the Ramchal has told us, so you have to have a logical order, correct? You want to talk about the parts of the body, so you start with either start from the head down or from the feet up, but you don't go from the head to the feet to the chest and to the stomach. You don't start mixing up your logical order. So here, shor, bor, mav, and hever, no matter who you're really talking about, doesn't seem to have any logical order.
Right, especially if Mav is Shane, then you're switching from a shar to a bar, back to a shar, back to a fire.
Right, internally. And really, it's crazy. Why should you break with bor in the middle? Okay. Also, there's a contradiction between the Reish and the Sefer in presentation. But that's another problem, That's another problem. But anyway, the order here is very, very problematic. Why did the Mishnah say shor, bor, mav, and hever? So to mataritz that, seeming lack of constant order, what does Rashi say?
It's the same. It's the order that's in the parsha. So that's why they ordered it that way in the Mishnah.
Right. So now we have a rule that the Mishnah is called Mishnah Melech. It's really a commentary on the Chumash, right? So it always likes to follow the Chumash because it's second in command. Mishneh, it's like the viceroy. Yosef, Paro says, "I'm the king." Remember, you're just the number two man here. You're important, but you're only the vice president. So the Mishnah likes to quote the Gemara. So that's a good teretz. It has a good. In Tuna's terms, it's a good reason al pi Kabbalah to make the order this way because the Mishnah likes to say, hey, I'm just telling you about the Chumash. Okay, so that's very good. The only problem is that Tosfos is now going to have a field day in that Tosfos Shor V'Abor, and he's going to say, wait a minute, Rav and Shmuel, it's not going to work out the order, and he has his own roots into that. but he keeps Rashi in the command. We won't get into that. Tosfos, but that's really what he's bothered with it, because he's a comment on Rashi. And he says, wait a minute, Rashi, you're very nice, but if you actually look at the text, it doesn't seem to line up with Rav and Shmuel as you're saying it. And he gives his truths. Okay? So that's what Rashi says there. So we said he's coming to Mefarish to Mataris Akasha. That's what he's doing in that one.
Right.
Okay. Let's go a little further.
Maveh, Mefarish B'Gemara. So that's really Pirush, because what he's doing is telling you that Maveh is something which is unknown. A beginner, and probably most advanced people will not know what Maveh is, unless you learn the Gemara. And he's telling you, I'm not going to explain it here, but you'll see it in the Gemara later on. So don't.
All right. So you see, now here's what I wanted to show you. Well, first of all, he says that clearly, right, over there. Let's go back to...
I'm going to give you, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Now, it's very interesting. You asked in the beginning. So here, let's go down to, remember he spoke about Rashi. And he said,
Minhag Rashi.
Yeah, Minhag Rashi. At the end, that's Mitaka and Lashon. Where does he say it? Here. Here, you see number 2 here?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Minhag Rashi. He says like this. Let's read this again. וגם כן מלפרש המשנה, מאמר גמרא או הברייסה, בתחילה זה העניין כפי המסקנה. Okay. And he says, Ulani has svekas. You see? Is that word svekas? Svekas in Israel means questions. He raises questions. Ulani, he stirs up hasvekas hagaluyim. Asher keneged hamarmahu, veloma hamaforish porich, o the Gemara maforish. He brings up questions that are clear. Let's read again. Ulani hasvekas hagaluyim. Asher keneged hamarmahu, veloma hamaforish. Gemara parich o the Gemara maforish. So there's a question here. What does Mava mean? And the Gemara is going to deal with it. Okay? So what he does is he brings up that obvious question, because no one who knows normal Hebrew knows what the word Mava means. It's an obvious question. What does the Gemara mean? And he signals you that that question is going to be answered. Okay, so it was very interesting that he left out Menias Svekas, you asked, and here again, when it comes to Rashi, he tells us Rashi doesn't do that. Why he didn't bring it in the short list here, and actually when he spells out all the things that the commentaries do, why he didn't bring it there, so I still can't answer that question. But Rashi is Menias Safek here. Okay? You with me?
Yep.
The one that's left out, that's what Rashi's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give you back the screen again.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So we're back to Rashi, Mava, Mefarish B'Gemara.
Yeah, that was it, because we don't know what Mava means. And it's obvious to anyone who's reading, who knows Hebrew, of course, we're not talking about a person who doesn't even know what the word Ava means, that this word is very unusual. So he flags the word and he says, the Gemara will explain it. We know that it's unusual, and the Gemara is going to explain it. Okay, let's go right there.
And then we have Hever Kiseitze Eish, which is also Mefarish. He tells you clearly, well, it's interesting the way he's saying it, because he's quoting the Pasuk, actually. Kiseitze Eish.
Now,
But it's probably a Pirush.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's probably a Pirush, because he's just telling them the Hever is a fire.
That's right, because you would know what that word meant. And it's not a machlokas. And here, actually, it has to mean Eish, because there's a contradiction between the Arba and Zik and the Shorbo Mab and the Hever, use the word Hever, and later on it says, V'lo zev zeh ben ruach harim kaharya eish. You with me?
Yeah.
The Mishnah itself defines Hever as eish. The Mishnah never tells us what Maba is, okay?
Right.
But it does tell us what eish is very clearly, what that Hever is eish.
So does the Gemara use the word hever anytime ever again, or it always use the word eish?
The Gemara usually uses eish as far as I remember.
Right.
Hever is the question is, why is there Shinui Lashon here? Remember the Darkei Gemara in the beginning? He says, look for Shinui Lashon.
Right. That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay. So now the I read in the Shita Mikubetzes, there's that one of the Rishonim say that we're going to get to the next question of Rashi. The reason why Shor and the order here, Shor, Bo, Mam, and Heva, has nothing to do with why they're written in the Pesukim. B'chlal. The answer is only because it's an easy way to memorize the Mishnayos. That's what it says. Since they memorize the Mishnayos and write it down, and so Shor rhymes with Bor and Mava rhymes with Heva. Now that's a good reason also why it didn't say Aish and Adam. Because Aish and Adam wouldn't rhyme. Okay, if it said Shor, Bor, Aish, and Adam, we would lose the rhyme. So Mava rhymes with Heber.
That's kind of funny. Okay.
Okay, so that's actually, we see now, it's a machlokas Rishonim. But he's basing, because now we understand what the kasha is here. The kasha is, why is there a Shinui Lashon? There's two Shinui Lashons. Rashi tells us the Mava one is a question the Gemara is going to ask, right? And the Hever one, it means Aish, obviously. And he brings the pasuk. We didn't answer why the pasuk. It obviously means Aish from the Hemshech of the Mishnah. But the question is, why is there a Shinui Lashon? Rashi doesn't explain to that. Why? How come the Mishnah uses the strange word of Mava and Hever when they could have used a straight out word? So that he doesn't explain. But in Shita Mikubetzes, so he has a whole new theory that has nothing to do with the order that's written in the Chumash B'chlal. As Tosfos brought up all these kashas, even though Tosfos Mataritz, he disagrees. He says, really, this is a different thing altogether. It's really coming to go into the headies here, that's all. Now, the weakness in that teretz is because we'd rather say that there's an import here. The order is following a standard rule, which is like, for instance, following the Chumash. We have Chazal that the Mishnah is always Mishnah Melech and likes to write in the lashon of the Chumash. To Machadesh, memorization, which is definitely also a possibility, but it's a little further away from saying things which are written in the Chumash.
Right.
I didn't, you know what I mean? But it's an answer, but the question is, which dachuk do you want to take? That answer is good because it explains a lot of things. To say memorization explains a lot of things. It explains why Mava and Hever are used in strange language. And then you don't have to get involved in all the contradictions between Rav and Shmuel, and let's line up the Pesukim and get into all the roots of Tosfos. Okay?
Yeah.
So, again, what we're doing by learning consciously is being able to talk to each other.
Right.
But we're not going to solve the world's problems.
Right.
We're going to understand the world's problems.
Right.
And we'll be able to logically talk about them and give possibilities. But there's no magic pill. The reason why they bring it up when I was at the yeshiva, so the people would read Derek Tefunos, and they would think it's a magic pill, because he does say everything becomes easy for you.
Right.
In one aspect, as I said, it's easy. The other aspect, life is not simple. You have problems, and you have to have solutions. And then debate, as he says in the beginning, what is a debate? A debate is showing the relative strengths and weaknesses of each side. And then you have to come to a decision, a hachro. You say, well, it's more important to follow the standard rule of Rashi because of X, Y, and Z than to say memorization. But the reason why it's an issue is because there's no clear-cut answer here.
Right.
There's reasons pro and con. Okay, so that was a very exciting little Rashi that opened up a lot of discussion.
Yeah, I see that the Shita Mikubetzes actually asks why is there a Shina Lashon in the Mishnah? He brings down from the Rivash, and he brings down a teretz from Rabbeinu Nesanel. All right, so that's Isha Mishim Mamayna, Bereshna, that's all. We'll have to go through it.
Yeah, you go through it. You'll see. There's a lot of people talking on that point. It's a very sensitive issue. It's something that has to be explained. Okay?
Yep. Okay, so let's go on with Rashi.
That's Heber. Let's go on with Rashi. Good. Now, we didn't answer why Rashi there in Heber has to bring a source.
Oh, that's a good question, right?
We didn't ask what's Rashi doing that he brings a source. Why does he need a source? Interesting. Why does he need a source? And he doesn't explain the word Heber. If it explained the word Heber, that's one. I mean, Rashi doesn't have to explain the word Heber because we know it's Eish. Because the Mishnah obviously refers to it as Eish. You know what I mean? There's an internal reason why we know that it's Eish. Mava we don't know. But it says, Lo zev she'esham bruch hakarya Eish. The only possibility is the Heber. I don't think you say Mava is Eish. But it's interesting. Why does Rashi has to say Kiteitzei Eish all of a sudden? He didn't tell us bor. He could have said, Ki nofel shoba bor. He could have brought that pasuk.
Right.
So I cannot answer that question.
And sure, he didn't bring down any of the pasuk either.
Exactly. Let him bring pasuk. Sure. No idea. Okay, but it's a good question. Do you see what that vav is over there?
That vav is just the Masaras Shas telling that it's the Gemara Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph.
Ah. Okay, maybe I have to look at that Gemara a little. Okay, Beseda. Let's go to Lohari, Rashi.
All right, so now we're going to begin into Leah Reya Shorka Reya Hamava. So that's the first one. Leah Reya Shorka Reya Hamava. Right, so that's the first one. So Rashi first tells you a Kolaima. So we didn't come across, did he mention that the word Kolaima for Rashi? He doesn't, the Darkei Gemara.
Kolomar is always a lashon of a parish.
Right, but
okay.
But he didn't say that.
But let's see if he. Let's see. I don't remember. I'm back here to the text of Rashi. No, he said Tosal Kedaitach. That he does say. No. Okay, no, he doesn't bring out specifically Rashi with the word Kolomar, but we know that Kolomar is always a lashon of parish.
All right, so he's going to explain what
where did he say that? Oh, you know where we learned it? That's where we learned it, in the Ramban. In the Ramban. Yes, in the Ramban. In the Ramban. Let me see. I'm just looking at my Ramban again. Oh, no. He says the word parish, not Koloma.
Okay.
The Ramban. The word parish wasn't Koloma. But, okay, Koloma always is a parish.
Right.
Because why? For the same reason that he said parish. And when it came to the Ramban, he says when the Ramban used the word parish, he says he has to be Nishmami Parashach, because why do you have to say parish? It's Peshuta. That's what we do. Everyone's doing a parish here. So, but the word Koloma, okay, let's see what Rashi says there.
Ikasav Rachmana Shar, if the Torah would have written only Shar, Lenafik Mave Mine. So if it would have said Shar, if it would have said Shar in the pasuk, so since we know that this is coming to answer a question, and the question is why do you need to say all of the avos? So Rashi is telling you the pirush is that that Leah Reya Shar means had it written Shar in the Torah, you would not learn that Mava from Shar. And that's why it had to say also Mave. Now he's coming to answer a question. So the question is, why does the Leharei go out of order of the Mishnah? It says Leharei Ashar Karei Maveh, instead of saying Leharei Ashar Karei Bar.
Right.
So
we have two parts of Rashi, right?
Right. So we have a Kalema, which is a Pirush of what Leharei means. The words Leharei are strange, right? and then he's telling you why is he jumping and not staying in order.
Okay, so so whenever the word kolomar is said, it's coming really to be nishma mi perishach. It's saying this is what it means. That's why I thought of the Rambam when he says the word perish. But here, kolomar means this is what it's saying. Okay, so now, what would you think it should be saying? Okay, now that's a very deep, this question is a very deep question. Okay, again, when we read Rashi simply, he's always just explaining everything, right, to a kid.
Right.
Right, because you just don't know anything, and you're just a beginner, and you never read Gemara, and he's for the matchilim that don't know what anything means, he has to, but let's look at a little Tosfos over here.
Okay, I think we got to scroll down a little bit.
Tosfos over here, the Lohari Tosfos.
Right. So this one gets complicated, this Tosfos.
Everything is complicated. Let's try to work it out. You're right, it's complicated. Okay, let's read this Tosfos here.
Well, so just before we start Tosfos, to go back to Rashi is pointing out that Lo Hare Hashar Karei Amava means had a written shar in the Torah alone without anything else, we would not learn out Mava from it. Because I think that's what Tosfos.
Yeah, so now you see is it because we're beginners and we don't know what Lo Hari means? Okay, is he mafarish the Inyan? You just don't know what Lo Hari is. You just never read Mishnayos. You never read it. Or is he being Nishma mi Perishach? Okay, so it's always easy to say mafarish Inyan because we don't know anything else.
Right.
But when we look at this Tosfos, we'll see that he's actually being Nishma mi Perishach.
Right. So
that's what I want to bring out.
So Tosfos says Pirish, so he just comes along in Pirish. He doesn't even ask a question in Rashi. Most of the times, Tosfos, if he disagrees with Rashi, he would say Pirish Bekuntris, and then go on with his own shot. Here he just jumps right in, and he says Ein kulase shel shar, ki kulase shel made, ki mefarish the command b'gemara, lamandi amar tana shar l'karne mava l'shinai. So he's saying that the kula of shar, and this gets into understanding how they are learned one from the other. So the kula of shar is not like the kula of mave, which I'm not sure what he means. He means that the kula of mave is more kal than the kula of shar.
Then you would learn it from a kal v'chomer.
Then you would learn it from a kal.
Ain kula so shor. Shor is not more. If it's not more mako, then the shor is more chomer. If it's more chomer, then you can't learn to mave. Let's go again.
So
you have a kal v'chomer, right?
A kal is always right. You have to go in one direction.
You learn the kal from the chomer, right? You derive the kal from.
You derive the
chomer
from the kal.
Way, just the chomer from the kal. You're right, 100%. The chomer from the kal, right? So here.
He's saying that shor is more chomer because it's kula.
Shor is more chomer.
It's not like the kula of mava. Mava has something which is much more kal than shor, and therefore
I can't learn it.
Right.
Excellent. Very good.
Now it could be agreeing with Rashi in that case, because Rashi is saying, had it said shor in the Torah, you couldn't learn out mava from it. Maybe he's just explaining, meaning to say that you can't learn it because the kula of shor is not as kal as the kula of mava. Mava is more kal, and therefore you can't learn it out.
Right. But now it's the next point, which is not the first. The formula is very important, but the next point is where I want to put the dagesh. I want to emphasize. What does he say there?
Mishum d'shar kavana salahazik, mava ein kavana salahazik.
No, okay, good. That's right.
That's why shor is more chomer than mave.
Correct, 100%.
Exactly.
Good. Now here it is.
Which is all other places has a different pirish and loy ra'izeh. The hasan pirushai ein chumra shel zeh. כחומרה של זה. ולקח אין החומרס גרמויס זה הדין, אלא צד השווה שמגרם הדין. ושינה
Stop.
כאן...
Okay, you can read. You can read.
Yeah, ושינה כאן התלמוד פירושים בשאר מקיימוס, משום דהזכר החומר תחילה בלוי זה וזה שיש בהם רוח חיים.
Okay. There's a lot of words there, but we can get to cut to the eager point here. You see, Tosfos is showing us really that this parish that he's giving, which is also Rashi's parish, is Nishmami parish Acher. Because again, our first rule is always to look at the standard use of language. Correct? That's what Ramchal always told us. See?
Right.
What's the lashon of the Bachaber? Now, lo hare has a certain mashma'ut everywhere else. And Tosfos is telling us that that mashma'ut is not here.
Right.
Now, we're going to spell it out in a second, but that's what he's doing. He's nishmai perishacher. The normal lo hare is not what's going on here. And that's why Rashi also says the word kolomar. He's not fighting with Rashi. Okay? It looks to me, again, we can get maybe deeper, but it looks as if he's agreeing with Rashi. But he has to spell out why how come this use of lo hari is not the standard use. He has to explain that. That's his problem. Right? Rashi just says, kolomar. I'm going to tell you what it means, but I'm not going to tell you what you should have thought what it meant. Tosfos says, no, I'm going to tell you what you should have thought what it meant because it normally doesn't mean that. Now, normally, so now we're clear about that Rashi is really Nishmami Perishach.
Right, so the klema you're saying is not just a pirish, it's really a klema meaning to say that don't think that this lehare is like the leiroi that is normally everywhere else, but it's klema, I'm telling you that it's something different.
Exactly. Nishmami Perishach.
Right.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And I keep saying, because to me, again, because we have these books as a background, now you said what you said, and we're right on the same track.
Right.
And we also understand Rashi clearly. Now we can always go deeper, but at least we're in a few seconds, as Nassan said, we're all together now on the same page in the same language. Okay, very good. So that was now. Just normally the low Roy Zek, just for information's sake, the low Roy Zek, usually what you're trying to do is eliminate differences and come to a tzad shava. Okay, that's how you normally use lo hari Zek hari Zeh, lo hari Zek tzad shava shebehen. Right now, that's how it's normally used. Tosfos says it's not being used that way. But look at the end of the Mishnah when it says tzad shava shebehen. You know, it says the word tzad shava shebehen. So, right? It says, so it's a we're dealing here with a very delicate point. Because from the end of the Mishnah, you would think this is a standard lohari.
Right.
And he's telling you it cannot be the standard lohari. I don't think it is. In the beginning, lohari shokar mava is not to come to the tzad shava. Because that's what if you normally read the Mishnah, you'd say, lo hai shokar hayamava, and I know what that means. It means that the chumras of both are not causing the din, and therefore the Mishnah says that tzad shavashem should darken the hazik shmiras and alecha. Okay, right? That seems to be the normal setup, but both Rashi and Tosfos and Nishma from that parish said it cannot be. And Tosfos also adds why there's a shinui here. Okay. Let's read that last part of Tosfos, just because it's very interesting.
B'shina kan hatalmud perushim yibashar mekaymes mishum dehezkir hachamor techila. So because over here it mentions the chamor first, below zev v'zeh sheish ben ruach hayim.
It wants to teach lo zev v'zeh sheish ben ruach hayim. You see the second phrase of the Mishnah? V'lo zev v'zeh sheish ben ruach hayim kahari eish ein ruach hayim.
Right.
Okay. So those two qualities have a common quality of a chumrah that you can't learn the eish from. Right? Because they have ruach hayim. So since it really wants to teach us about learning, you can't take two and learn the third one from it, it used this, it changed its meaning in the first Lohari. Lohari is not standard. Okay, again, this is something that we would have to sit on, we have to think about it. This is very subtle. Very subtle, because there's a lot of movement here between the first statement here, and these other statements. So, but we'll leave it at that, okay? Let's go back to Rashi. So we see Rashi here, this innocuous little Rashi, all of a sudden opened up to a Nishmami Perish Acher, and the Tosfos is involved in it, and we're now really getting involved in the subtleties of the exact Peshat in the Mishnah. Okay? So let's go a little weiter now. That was Koloma. Ikas Brachman Ashor lo nafik maba minei. Okay. Va'amtu lahachid tzarich lemechtav. Now we said that's, and you said correctly, that's why we have this hidden kasha over here. You would think that you don't have to write maba once you have shor, and we see that you do because
you can't learn it out.
Muhammad and Ava, and you can't learn it out.
Right.
Okay. Now, the second thing that Rashi talks about, what's his second? Right. What's he doing here?
He's answering a question.
Exactly. What's the question?
The question is, why does the Mishnah go out of order in the Leharei? You could say Leharei Ashar Karei Habar, and say that you can't learn out bar from Shar if it said Shar in the Mishnah. So he's answering.
So now in the lashon of getting back to Tfunos, Tfunos told us what a pircha was, if you remember. A pircha is not a contradiction. A pircha is a stylistic kasha. Okay, so Rashi's really matar. It's a stylistic kasha here. Okay, the kasha is, why did the Mishnah? The question is, a shaler is a kasha. That's interesting. But according to Tfunos, it's called a kasha because it defies the rules of proper speech. That's how Tfunos would define it.
Right, yeah.
In the lashon of Tfunos. Okay? But, so it's not a simple shaila. It's really, in Tfunos language, it's really a pircha because there's a contradiction here in the Seder of the four opposites in the presentation. Okay? So, he's matar tzakasha, that the mission is not consistent.
Right.
Okay, and how does he do it?
He says the answer is because the su le'havim matzi lemisni le'zev zeh sheish b'm ruach chayim, the harbar ein by ruach chayim. So the Mishnah wanted to, I guess, remain compact and concise. So therefore, it just wants to be able to say le'zev zeh sheish b'm ruach chayim. And you couldn't say if you already went talking about bar.
So it's skipped over. The first answer is it skipped bor in order to show that you couldn't learn aish from the common quality of shor and maba.
Right.
Okay, but again, you could see right away how all the questions are going to open up here. I mean, so why did the Mishnah do that? It should have. If the truth is that, I mean, why didn't the Mishnah do it in order and then not talk about Aish at all? If I could really, if I could learn Aish from Shor and Mava, no, that's not true. 1 second. If I have Shor and Mava, no, I couldn't learn because of Ruach Hayim. That's correct. I couldn't learn it.
No, but let's say you had Shor and Bar.
I would have learned Shor and Bor.
So you could say, let us learn on Aish. Then you probably could learn on Aish.
I could learn Aish from it.
Right, because Bar is aimed by Ruach Hayim.
Yeah, but once it's aimed by Ruach Hayim, so then I should be able to learn out Aish from it.
Right, and then it wouldn't have to say in the Torah. And we have to explain why does it say Aish in the Torah. And the answer is because you can't learn it out from all of them.
Yeah, but 1 second. Okay, we'll be back in the soup in 1 second.
Right. Well,
could I learn if it's Shor and Bor? Could I learn Aish from it or not?
Shor and Bor. Oh, so if you can, so let it not say Aish. And the answer is that
And what's the answer?
probably you...
that question is never answered.
Well, not in the Mishnah, but in the Gemara, I think it answers it, right?
Okay, but the Mishnah doesn't make sense. Because of that question, the Tosfos is going to say that this whole Mishnah is academic. But okay, that's a whole other... We won't get into that at this point. Let's keep it simple, first of all.
Right.
Rashi has a question why it went out of order. Right? And we said it's according to the specific language of the Sakasha. There's a contradiction in order here. And the teretz is, if it would have gone in order, it could not have brought up the distinction that it wanted 2%.
Right.
Okay. For some reason, it was very important to bring out that distinction. We don't know why. We ask questions, but that's what Rashi says. The order is the skipping. Excuse me. The skipping of the word bor is in order to bring the second bubble, which is lower, and that couldn't have been done if we jumped the bor. That's what Rashi says. That's his first teretz. Okay, what's his second teretz to that kasha? Stop.
So the answer is that we're saying that even though Shar has Ruach Chaim and Mava has Ruach Chaim, that you can't learn that one from the other. So the Mishnah wanted to tell that to you immediately because that's a Chiddush. So it skipped bar to tell you that you can learn out Shar and Mava from each other.
Why is it called a Ravusa?
Because he says, Shafal Gav. You would have thought. Right? I think that's the Chiddush is...
Go ahead.
The Chiddush is that you would have normally thought you could learn that one from the other because they're both Yeshbei Ruach Chaim. So that's a Rabusa that you can't, that in this case you can't learn them out one from the other.
And if it would have done Shor and Bor,
Shar and Bar that you would not know, then, I don't know, we've got to think through the rest of the Mishnah. Let's see. So what would have happened? You would have said Shar and Bar, and then you would have said Shar Bar, and then you would have tried to learn Mava from Shar and Bar, and then you would learn out Hever from Shar Bar and Mava.
No, about this Rabusa. What does it mean, Rabusa? In other words, how does this help? Why would, according to this teretz, we skipped Bor because we had something greater to tell you.
Right.
Okay.
And the thing that's greater is that even though you have two things which are similar, because they're both Yeshbei Ruach Chaim.
That's true. That's what he says. But what about the alternative? It's true we would have lost that, but in other words, when I'm asking, would it have been any? Is there any Ravusa with Shor and Bor?
Of the similar type, I guess not. What are you going to learn out? What are you going to say? That you would have thought that you could learn out Mava from Shar and Bar? Or you'd have thought that you could learn out Bar from Shar? That's really, if you want to make a similar comparison between Shar and Mava to the limud of Shar and Mava from each other, you would have to say Shar and Bar from each other. So you would have had to say that I thought that the Mishnah is coming to tell you that you would have thought you could learn out Shar and Bar from each other. And what Rashi is saying really is that we're skipping that because you would have never thought you could learn Shar and Bar from each other because Bar is not Ruach Chaim and Shar is. Bar doesn't move and Shar does. So you would never have thought that.
So now that's really, again, we're talking in depth here, but is it that you would never thought it or that it's a bigger chiddush to talk about Shor and Mava? Is the best is it, again, because we're saying like this, is the Mishnah Dafka, if I had Shor, I wouldn't learn Shor, is the Mishnah saying Lo Hari Shor Kahari Mava? Because those are the only two that you would have had a Havamina that would be similar? Or is it saying Lo Hari Shor Kahari Bor, Lo Hari Bor Kahari Shor, Lo Hari Shor, all the possibilities? And it just happened to pick one. In other words, if the question is, why do I need 4 hours Nezikin? Let me learn one, and I can learn the other ones as told us. And then the question should be shaykh to all 4 of them. Let me learn Bor, and I can learn any of them also. Let me learn Shor, and I'll learn the other ones. There's a LCD that may have led me to the possibility that as we said before, what do I care how the damage is done? Once I damage my friend, and because of my pashia, my shmirah, so then I have to pay. What's the difference if it's a Shor, a Bor, a Mama, and a Hever? I was supposed to watch my dangerous item, and I didn't. So in that case, really, I could theoretically have learned from any one of these 4 the other 3. And what Rashi is saying, it's taking the biggest chiddush, not the only chiddush, but the biggest chiddush. And the biggest chiddush is the ones that are so similar, the Shor and the Mava, which are both Ruach Chaim,
right,
where you might have had a Havamina, that they're so close that you must learn. Even there, they're different. Even there. You with me? So I'm just making a decision between an even and an only.
Right.
Is it only these 2 that Rashi's talking about, that you have a Havamina to learn one from the other? Or even these are different. The other ones of Ada, you'll see why they're different, and you may not learn one from the other. You may not, but even these, okay? But anyway, that's again.
So you have to know what the word that
question.
Right, the Rebusa. So he's saying is the Rebusa here, the Chiddush in something that this has more than the other ones? Okay, or not, okay.
Right, or just only this one
right.
would be the Havamina. But that's just a deeper level of it. Just 1 second. Where's I keep losing you. I have all these little things on the bottom. Online meeting maker, I can't see you. I don't know. This?
I'm still there. I'm still on there.
Very good. I got it. No, you're there. It's the flower that I have to look at, not my Firefox. Okay. All right. So what did Rashi do here? He said he was mitaritz a kasha, and he did it in 2 ways. And we learned also that whenever you have 2 terutzim, you always have to ask what's the strengths and weaknesses of each one, because if one was totally strong, the first one was totally strong, so why does he need the second one? If the second one was totally strong, why do I need the first? So that's again what people will be trying to do, those people that will learn Rashi seriously. Okay? So I think we could stop here.
Stop here, yeah.
Okay. And Baruch Hashem,